So Shakespeare's hero Hamlet, who slyly called his own early modern interventionist device mousetrap, similarly described his creation as a kind of thing into which he planned to catch the consciousness of the king. That thing, he said, has no tongue, but it nevertheless speaks with the most miraculous organ. Shakespeare, aka Hamlet, invented mousetrap, I believe, as a compensatory or artistic solution produced out of necessity.
And publics outside NSK. This initially sounds counterintuitive. One of the hallmarks of NSK, for me at least, is its sheer vocality, its status as a noise machine. Laibach's industrial pummelings of its instruments and its audience is the most obvious example of that, matched by the bombardment of juxtaposed imagery in Inovant's paintings that constitute an aesthetic of so-called communication noise. Or the range of manifestos, covenants, mystifying interview responses, and more recently, historiography that are overwhelming in their volume. To reduce these members of NSK to silence, then.
We didn't know yet about capitalism, except from news. Ideology was also incredibly important, and there was the body was packed with these revolutionary choirs and history. The first female strike in Yugoslavia, first male strike, lots of strikes, socialist strike, the election of the Communist Party of Slovenia in some. These were all kind of very mythic stories for us. Communist Party was created in some small cabin lock up in the mountains around the border. These are kind of mythic stories. And when you start to understand them, of course, they influence you. And we start to realize that, on one hand, of course, cultural life, industrial life, family life.
Crucial years. I became the director of Moderna Galleria after the dissolution of Yugoslavia, at a time when the old system had already fallen apart, while the new system had not yet fully formed. The only system that functioned really well was the NSK system. Roughly at that time, in '92, NSK even formed its own state, the NSK state in time. This newly established state of Slovenia was without a full-fledged cultural policy.
Sometimes in the afternoons, but in the evening, all kind of private debate will take place here. So basically, the place was functioning as a kind of generator. Okay, here you see some of participants you see on the left Marina Gazinic, Victor Viziano during one of the lectures. When we were doing this, this embassy was also interesting that Slovenia still didn't have the embassy in Moscow at that time. So by coincidence, some people were calling.
So, saying that what repeats in NSK's manifesto is impossibility itself equals saying that what repeats is exactly enigmatic, unbearable core of a certain artistic engagement. However, the way in which this break is articulated in NSK, and especially Scipion Nasica Sisters Theatre, has its own logic and artistic manifestation. In general, we could describe strategy of their artistic engagement as the revival of historical styles, political references, etc. Their references include also the historical manifestos. Moreover, this repetition includes also the reflection, the self-awareness of what strategies are used and what is...
Z erudicijo roju vprašanj. Živel je tak peresar in vode ne prevrete sovražnih strašanj. Profesor, snemite očala, govorim vam kot znanec znanci. Preglasil sem poezije potokov, zakoračil čez lirične knjige srca, Moj stih je prešel preko hrbtov glav, držav in poetov. Z delom prebil je časa obod in se pojavil resno, grobo, ko plima. Jaz nisem navajen, da laskam ljudi. Všestcom dekletom pod rožnimi kodri, nad večim razčvekanjem neslanim, jaz razvrščam svoje umetnine